Hello, my name is XONEVANT. Today is Monday, May the 5th, and this is your Daily Dose. Okay, so I was reading through yesterday's comments and I came across the conversation between Griefsy93 and Sly Medic, and they were just talking about that topic from yesterday, stuff that might have got sold in their elementary school, stuff that might have got traded, stuff that was popular, that sort of stuff. And Griefsy93 said, aside from all of that stuff, people were most likely also selling drugs, in his school, other people. And I thought, what, why not talk about drugs on this channel? You know what I mean? I know that it's a big deal, politically. A lot of people are trying to, legalize marijuana and stuff like that. But I'm talking about not just those type of drugs, but just drugs in general, pharmaceutical type drugs, any kind of drugs, right? Let's talk about it. Now, first things first, because I know this is going to be the question, is do I use drugs or have I ever used drugs? And the answer to that is no, I haven't. I've never used drugs. I've never, done any kind of quote unquote illegal drugs. And obviously I've taken over-the-counter medicine when I was a kid, when my mom was pretty much telling me what I had to take, right? But ever since I've gotten older and got out of the house and, been my own person, so to speak, I don't really take any medicine. You can ask my brother. I don't like medicine in general. The only time I'll take medication is when when it's something severe. Like when I was when I was having seizures, they had me on a couple of things. I was also having some dehydration issues. They had me on a couple of things. But I'm talking about flu shots and stuff like that. I don't take them. In other words, I don't want anything going in my body that might affect me or might have some type of side effect, right? Because we do know, right? We do know this as a fact that the drug industry as a whole, they're in it to make money. It's a business. It's just like prisons, right? It's a business. I had a friend of mine, he was actually a biologist. He was going to school for this type stuff. And he was like, yeah, the medicine that we give you to fix one thing in your body, and it'll fix it, right? It'll either cure it completely or it'll subdue it, right? Which is really good. It might take some pain away from you or something like that. He says, but when that happens, there's a side effect because it messes with your body. It messes with the chemicals in your body. There's a side effect, which means you have to go back and get another drug to fix the side effect. And then guess what? That new drug has a side effect. And I personally feel like that's the reason why we have so many senior citizens, when they get up in age, they're constantly in and out of the hospital, man. I just feel like their body is just so jacked up from taking medications that it can't function without the medicine anymore. It's almost like they are addicted to it. Their body needs certain pills every day to get by. And in that regard, they're no different than somebody who's strung out on cocaine or strung out on any other quote unquote illegal drug, right? To me, it's kind of the same thing. Like you've got some drugs out there that are completely legal that are jacking people up. And you got some drugs out there that are quote unquote illegal that are jacking people up, right? Another reason why I've kind of stayed away from drugs is because honestly, I think I would like it. Honestly, I think I would enjoy it. It's the same way that I've stayed away from alcohol, right? I've never touched alcohol either, right? So the reason why is because I think I would like it. I think I would really enjoy it to the point where I would probably become an addict. And I really feel that way. Right? Because when I enjoy something, you guys know this, man, I'm a workaholic. Why? Because I love to work. I love to play games, so I play them all the time. So I feel like if I ever got a taste of it and I really enjoyed it, I would be that guy. You know what I mean? I would be that dude who just had to have it all the time. And I don't want it to be that way. So I just stay away from it. At the end of the day, I feel like everybody should know their limits and everybody should be able to write their own rules. I don't look down on anybody who uses drugs, right? I don't look at them and say they're the scum of the earth, right? I just hope that they do it, I hope that they do it kind of in the privacy of their own home, and I hope they're safe. That's it. That's the only thing I ask. Don't get in a vehicle when you're high as a kite. You know what I mean? Don't get in a vehicle when you're strung out on anything. And don't get behind the wheel of a car when you've had too much to drink. Just be smart about it is my big thing, right? So before I let you guys go, I'll tell you a story right quick. When I was in high school, I would have drugs passed across my desk every day. You know what I mean? Every single day. People selling them, just like Griefsy was talking about in his school. And I remember they would take them and they would flatten them out. Like they would take weed and they would flatten it out in like aluminum foil, like super flat, where it would fit in like a book. and they would just pass it across my desk, but it would be a book. You know what I mean? Just passing it back and forth. Totally obvious to like people like me, but the teachers, they didn't have a clue. You know what I mean? They were ready to go home just like we were ready to go home. You know what I mean? And I remember this one day, I was in geometry, it was 3 o'clock, and the bell didn't ring, right? It got to be 3:05, it got to be 3:10, 3:15, and the bell's not ringing. So we start opening up the doors and looking down the hallway going, hello, ring the bell, like we're ready to go home. And what was actually happening was that a kid, right, had been running a drug operation basically in the school for months. And they were actually doing a drug bust, and that's the reason why they didn't ring the bell. Now, obviously, I didn't see it go down because I was on one end of the school and, it happened on the other end. But they say that, the police rolled up, raided the school, came in there, and, shoved this dude's head on his desk, held guns up to him. I mean, because supposedly he was armed. When that kind of stuff happens, man, that's where I don't want to be. You see what I mean? And I think that if I ever used drugs, I would be that dude because I think I would just be hooked, right? And I don't want to be that guy. But also to know that, what if he'd have resisted? You know what I mean? In that classroom, they might have shot this kid. You know what I mean? He may be dead right now. So I don't know, man. To me, it's all about personal preference. But for me personally, it just seems like it would cause too many more problems. You know what I mean? Like my life right now is pretty drama free. You know what I mean? I can pretty much do what I want to. I have a great time doing what I love to do. And it just seems like that would just complicate things for me. Now maybe I'm wrong. Maybe somebody out there who uses drugs says, no, man, your life will be cooler if you use drugs. So that's fine, but I'll never know until I try. And if I try, I may become that guy. And I just don't want to do that. So that's kind of what how I feel about drugs. Not just illegal drugs, but drugs as a whole. I don't trust any drug going into my body because anytime something goes in your body and it changes the chemicals in your body or, your biology and you have that side effect, I'm not cool with that, man. I'd rather just be sick, tough it out, and let my body naturally just kind of fix itself. Unless there's like a super big issue, right? Like we talked about earlier, then obviously I would do the right thing. But for me, I just try to stay away from them. So you guys can let me know what you guys think below. I'll be around all day answering comments. Talk to you guys tomorrow. Be good.